Hi everyone, my name's Joel, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys for Eternal Walls Hope to Inspire segment. I want to talk with you guys a little bit about myself and share with you a story that I really hope inspires you guys. I grew up in Mumbai, where Bollywood comes from in India, and I had a really good childhood. I had a great childhood. I had great parents, both of whom were Christians. And in Mumbai, we were surrounded by all kinds of religions, people with all kinds of superstition, everything under the sun, you name it, and Mumbai had it. And growing up in that environment was interesting because as a Christian, you're challenged as a child. From a very young age, I was challenged, and my way of overcoming those challenges was to say, actually, I think Jesus can beat Hanuman up, or Jesus can beat your God up, because Jesus is stronger. That was a very childlike approach to what Jesus can do in my life. But well and truly, what I really wanted to see was everyone around me get a taste of how powerful my God really is. And I would read these inspiring stories in the Bible. Of course, growing up as a kid, my favorite superhero in the Bible was Samson, because he was so strong. He fought lions. He beat the Philistines. He tied foxes' tails up, put them on fire, and made them run through fields. I thought that was incredible. And I wanted to be like that guy. Now, as I grew up, my inspiration somewhat changed. I didn't want to be as strong as Samson, but I was still inspired by the power of God and what he can do. And I continue to read into stories of guys like David, Abraham, Moses, Paul, Peter, all of these incredible people, not forgetting Jesus, who really demonstrated the power of God in a very, very tangible way. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted that to be my legacy. I wanted that to be my story, where my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids will kind of read back on our family history and story and say, we come from a family that really believe in Jehovah Jireh, that really believe in his power. And as much as that fire burns inside of me, I remember constantly praying for people around me, whether that was in the streets, whether I was out shopping, whether I was on a train traveling somewhere, and I saw some incredible things happen. And for one reason or another, it suddenly died down for a little bit. I hadn't prayed for anyone in a while, and I thought, I've lost the touch. I really don't have this in me anymore. And maybe, God is calling me to different things. And I remember this one evening at work, and this one guy walks in, and he just had tears coming out from one of his eyes. And I remember thinking, man, the old Joel would have gone up to him and just offered to pray for him. But I haven't got the touch anymore, right? So I remember feeling convicted, and I just felt like God said, it was never your touch to begin with, it was mine. And so I went up to him, and full of nerves, I just said to the guy, hey, Mo, what happened to your eye? And he said, I used to work as a bouncer. I got in a fight. And since then, my tear ducts or whatever have been damaged. And so every now and again, my eye just waters. I don't really remember what the damage was, but I just knew that it needed healing, and I only knew that Jesus could do it. So I offered to pray for him, and I said, hey, this may sound real weird, but I go to church. I'm a Christian, and when I believe that Jesus can heal you. I believe that if you're in any kind of pain or discomfort, Jesus can heal you. And I've seen some crazy things happen in my lifetime, and I'd love to just pray for you. He's like, yeah, go for it. So I offered to pray for Mo. We prayed over and over again. I asked him how his eye was, and there was still tears coming out of his eye. Nothing had happened. So I offered to pray again, and I prayed over and over and over again. Nothing happened. And these doubts in my mind kept telling me, remember, you'd lost the touch. It isn't there anymore. And I thought, yeah, I've lost the touch. It isn't there anymore. And Mo just said, hey, you know what? I really want to tell you a little bit of my story, and I'm really going to try and compress this for you. And his story really moved me. Mo is from Sierra Leone. He grew up in a really strict Muslim house. His dad was an imam, and he just told me the story. When he was a kid, there was this man with a wooden cross that came to his village, and he was barefoot. And he came over to him and said to Mo, "There is a call on your life," or something along the lines of, "You're chosen." I don't really exactly remember what Mo had said, but Mo remembers thinking that guy wasn't Muslim, he was Christian. And so Mo kind of goes on with his life, and one day he's praying, and while he's praying, he remembers thinking, "I don't even know if I'm praying to Allah or Jesus anymore. Like, who am I actually praying to?" And while he was just there, he recalls this incredibly bright white light that just came into the room, and he described it as it was almost spinning. But this bright light came into the room, and it was just in the room with Mo as he was praying. And Mo is scared out of his life. He's thinking, "I don't know what this is. I don't know if I'm gonna die. What's gonna happen?" And he jumped up and he ran out of the room. And he quickly rang his friend Abdul, who, as it just so happens, also had an encounter with Jesus. Abdul, in fact, had a dream where Jesus himself came down and he was blessing all these children around him. And I have the pleasure of working with both Abdul and Mo. And Mo rang Abdul and told him this story, that this bright white light came into the room and Mo ran out, and Abdul really scolded him. He really told him off. Abdul said, "Why would you run? That's the Holy Spirit. You needed to touch it. You needed to go close to it. You needed to just be a part of it. You needed to go be a part of Him." And Mo said, "Okay, well, I guess I have my answer now. It's not Allah, it's Isa." And Mo told me the story, and I said, "Mo, that's incredible. That's really inspiring." He said, "Yeah, and I've been searching ever since." And I said, "What are you searching for?" And he said, that white light. I want that back in my life." And I said, "Man, why don't you come to church with me?" And he said, "Great, sign me up." That Sunday I went and picked him up. He was dressed in his Sunday best. He came along to church, and that Sunday he gave his life to Jesus. He went forward, gave his life to Jesus, which was incredible. And the Sunday after that, he brought his 2 daughters with him. And since then, both Mo and his kids have been coming to church every Sunday. What's incredible about that for me is the fact that I was nervous and really apprehensive about going to pray for Mo that night when he came into work. And I could have given into my fears, I could have given into my anxiety, I could have given into my nervousness, and I could have saved face. But I decided that I would take 5 to 10 seconds of absolute courage and see what comes of it and trust God with the consequence. And the result of that was that a man got saved. He's now bringing his daughters to church. Every time I see him, he's got grace, forgiveness, and joy in his heart, which is very different to the Mo I knew from before. And he's still coming to this church to this day. I saw him at work yesterday, and there he was faithfully with his Bible full of Psalms, and just full of love, full of grace, just grateful. Every time he sees me, he's thanking me. And I'm like, thank God. God is the one who moved in your life. I'm just the one he gave me the honor of being a part of your journey of. And I'm so glad I took him up on the offer. And, it's so easy to think that it is, so much of this is down to us. And I'll tell you the truth, a lot of it is, but we do this for God. And one day, you and I are going to be in heaven. You and I are going to look back on some of these stories and think, I'm so glad I did what I did for God, because in the end, it's all been worth it. I'm inspired by stories of Christians around the world, especially in the Middle East, especially in countries where Christianity is banned. And I'm inspired by those stories of hope that these guys would give up everything to stand for Christ, And And I think, man, I have such a privilege here. I have such an opportunity here. I don't have limits. I don't have anyone stopping me. I can go to anyone and tell them something as simple as, Jesus loves you. Hey, you look like you're in pain. And this is going to sound super weird, but can I pray for you? Because I believe Jesus can heal you. And since that time, I've been reassured by God that I never lose the touch as long as He's with me. And that's the hope I carry with me. I'm not going to sit here and say, you don't have to do the same as me, because I think you should. I think every single Christian who believes in Jesus should step out, because there is a part of God that is so desperate to be known, and that part of this is His power. And He's desperate for you to know it. He's desperate for the world around you to know it. I'm gonna read just a verse that really inspired me and continues to inspire me. And it's from Hebrews 11, verse 6. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. And my encouragement to you guys is, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and whatever situation you may be in now, God is still King and He can deliver you. But the mandate is still there. We are still called to preach the gospel. We are still called to raise the dead, heal the sick, and feed the poor. All of the above. And if you're here and you're listening to this and you're wondering, I just need a sign, this is a sign. God has called you. God has purposed you for something incredible. And that incredible thing is on the other side of your nerves and anxieties. Just step out and do it.